So this is a pretty big deal. So Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene are combining forces to rally Trump supporters. Now, if you remember, the only reason Marjorie Taylor Greene actually won her election was because Matt Gaetz endorsed her, and that endorsement actually gave her the dub. So he's the reason why she's actually in office. Now, remember, Matt Gaetz is now in trouble with the whole potential sexual scandal. Remember the whole QAnon thing and how it focused a lot on that? I guess QAnon just abandons it if they're Trumpers. It only matters if it's supposedly Hillary Clinton. It says Representatives Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene, two of the most conservative members of the House, are joining forces. The pair filed paperwork with the Federal Election Committee on Friday for a joint fundraising committee dubbed Put America First, a move that will allow them to combine their star power on the right and take in larger checks from donors. Gaetz and Greene are also set to kick off an America First tour on May 7th with a rally at the Villages, a massive retirement community in Florida that is a crucial stop for any Republican hoping to make a name for themselves statewide. In a recent press release, Gaetz' campaign described his tour with Greene as an effort to, quote, rally the 74 million Americans that voted for President Trump in the last election and highlight the destructive failings of the radical left and their puppet in the White House, Joe Biden. Quote, there are millions of Americans who need to know they still have advocates in Washington, D.C., and the America First movement is consistently growing and fighting, Gaetz said in a statement. The budding partnership between Gaetz and Greene is a likely one. Both have developed reputations as some of Trump's most ardent allies in Congress and have been willing participants in the former president's efforts to discredit the results of the 2020 election. So these two are a pretty obvious match. They're both clearly the most outspoken Trump supporters. They're really the only outspoken Trump supporters in the House and the Republican Party. The rest of them either hate Trump or they hate Trump, but they can't outwardly say it because their constituency is too deeply tied to Donald Trump, and so it'd be a risk to their electoral odds of getting reelected. But this is definitely not surprising to me. These two are people who have been essentially entirely alienated completely from the Republican Party. I don't know if Marjorie Taylor Greene is still Donald Trump's mouthpiece. She was for a while. They were having like calls and meetings or whatever, or at least one. Matt Gaetz has no allies left, especially during this scandal. No Republican has come out to support him. Matt Gaetz was causing a lot of trouble with the other Republicans, and so he pissed all of those guys off. So now he has no allies except for Marjorie Taylor Greene. And then Marjorie Taylor Greene also pissed off all of the other Republicans with her antics of, remember all the motions to adjourn that she was doing? Those motions to adjourn, which means to close the session and then essentially a filibuster tactic, and then you have to come back to it at a later date. Those take a lot. That takes 45 minutes for a roll call vote. So that was incredibly time consuming. Even Captain Crenshaw came out and called her out, and a bunch of Republicans were, calling her a pain in the ass because she was just trolling, basically. So these are two people who are alienated from everybody else in Congress, at least publicly. And so they have to team up with each other because who else are they going to team up with? You know what I mean? It's Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Who else would they team up with? So there are a lot of Trump supporters. They're going to rally them. Are they going to have the charisma or ability to really pull these Trumpers together and really build a support base? I don't know. Are they using this to make money? I'm not really sure. Is Matt Gaetz, playing some kind of game before this whole scandal goes finished? I don't really know. But that's what we're going to see.